Okay. Hello.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Aaron. Welcome to a new experiment on Two Bi Guys. We're back. This is our two-part season finale, probably. Maybe not. Things can change, but
News to me.
it might be the end of our season. It's coming up on that. Welcome to Two Bi Guys, the first ever in-person Two Bi Guys. We're seeing how this goes. We're recording at a table. If you're watching on Patreon, you can see us here. Look how my hand goes across and he can touch it. We can touch each other. Oh, so lovely. Welcome finally to Two Bi Guys. My friend Aaron Hammersley, welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here finally.
Yes, and I'm glad we could do this little experiment in person. And we live down the street from each other. So
I know, and have for many years now.
Yeah, yes. And yet this is the first time you're here in my space. Welcome.
It's true.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a great space.
We were gonna do this podcast from the hot tub at my complex.
That's true.
And which I thought was an amazing idea, but Aaron didn't want to.
No, that's not. I just felt like maybe the sound would be problematic with all the bubbles.
Yeah, probably. And you know, all the other people.
The other people in the hot tub. Yeah.
Might be distracting slightly.
Yeah.
I don't know if we all want to talk about bi representation in film and
I think it could have ended up being a little bit of a group discussion.
Someday that would be an interesting episode. Maybe
It's just you and I just sitting in a hot tub talking to random people who come in and out of the hot tub.
I don't hate that idea for a spin-off
podcast. This is our spin-off podcast.
It can be called 8 Bi Guys in a hot tub. 8 Bi Guys in a hot tub. So why are you here, Aaron? Let's tell people about you because they might not know. And so Aaron Hammersley, who uses any and all pronouns, really? Any and all pronouns?
Yeah, that's a long story, but basically I don't have a relationship with my own gender identity. So cool. I kind of just,
We'll get into that. I want to ask you about that. Aaron Hammersley is a filmmaker and production manager currently at Disney, right down the street. I used to picket outside and he would wave.
Yeah, we'd hug each other across the picket lines. It was great.
There's
just love between unions and studios. Yeah.
Yes. But over his 16 years in the industry, he has worked for every major studio and has worked with 75% of all celebrities, according to him. Now he says it's 80%. We'll have to I'm going to audit you on those statistics.
Okay.
We'll do a little test later. He is on the board of the LA Bi Plus Task Force. He, like RJ, is RJ on the board also? Our bi stepfather on the show?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But
he just does stuff. Sometimes.
He does all kinds of stuff for all kinds of bad.
So you're actually way more important than RJ.
No, that's not true. We're all equals in our fights.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But you're on the board of the LA Bi Task Force. Aaron is an outspoken advocate for the LGBTQ plus community, working especially for more inclusive representation in front of and behind the camera. In 2024, he co-authored Rewrite the Bylines, Bi Narratives, a guide to authentic representation in storytelling, the first comprehensive guide to portraying bi characters in film and television. I also wrote that he currently resides in Los Angeles, which we already discussed, since that's where we are. And so welcome to Two Bi Guys.
So great to be two bi guys in the same room.
You're the second bi guy for today.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. You were bi before me though,
probably. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. We'll have to figure that out.
Tell me about it. Let's talk about it right now.
Okay.
Tell me about so also I'll just say we are friends. We know each other.
Yes,
you want to say how
we have for several years. Where did we meet officially? We met at some bi event at some point. Probably Ambi. Shout out to Ambi.
I don't remember exactly.
I don't remember exactly which event it was, but maybe there was a hot tub involved. I don't know.
Maybe,
but
still bisexual thing. I remember meeting you at Pride. Maybe
yes, multiple times. I think we met before Pride, but Pride is like where we talked more and maybe became friends. Yeah.
Oh, are you considering us friends?
I consider us friends. Yeah, even though you've never invited me over to your home, but now you have, so it's okay. Now we're friends.
If I invite you to my home for business, it counts as
yes,
spills over into friendship. Yeah.
We have had many a fun hang out outside of either of our apartments.
Yes, true. Okay, cool. So Tell us a little about your journey. I am curious, actually, if you were bi before me.
Oh yeah.
I think you probably were, from what I know. But
Oh,
when
okay.
did you kind of realize it, and what's your journey
Yeah. So I think a lot of the way that I sort of characterize my childhood and my discovery of that part of myself is that I felt like an alien for most of my life. I still really
been?
very much do, but
We all
I
are, right?
remember like going through adolescence, right? Probably like we always did, and this was in the '90s, so it was still, in my opinion, the most homophobic decade of human history.
Mm,
I think uh, having these like realizing that I was having all these attractions to different kinds of people, and especially
yeah.
having when I was starting to get that process, we moved into a more white facing affluent part of the country, and it was a very different experience for me because I we were poor and I'd come from a small town and we were still not wealthy, and
Mhm.
the experience I had was just being around a lot of like rich white people basically who had like a very different experience of the world than I did. And so I felt like an outside in that regard. And then at the same time, I was like, wait, why am I attracted to like all these dudes and also these like women at the same time? And unfortunately, and one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about representation in film and television is that I grew up very passionately watching a lot of film and TV. It's sort of naturally led to me being in this industry.
Mhm.
But I will always tell people that I never heard the word bisexual until I was 19 years old,
Mm.
and it was in a terrible. It's a terrible example, but anyway, it was a
Well,
joke about
uh-huh.
like being bisexual is not real.
Uh-huh.
But I
On
remember hearing
TV,
that and
something
being
on TV or in
no, it
real
was a
life?
movie.
In
It's a
movie.
movie called now it's going to escape me. Jeffrey
Okay.
with Patrick Stewart. Anyway, um, but I was intrigued by the word basically, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. What's that? And when I was a freshman in college, this word kind of stuck with me, and I was like, wait, that you like can be attracted to both. And during that time, I was having a very fluid experience sexually where like I'd be attracted to like women more like one week, and then the next week I would be attracted to like men more and like
Uh,
be more interested in exploring that. And it was also the first time in my life because it was college and people were more open about being themselves to some degree.
uh,
They would. I started having gay friends for the first time, and unfortunately, my gay friends at that time period were extremely, and this is not going to surprise you at all, very negative towards me saying that I was bi and that
what?
I liked women and all of these things. And
Gay people
I,
being
I mean, to
biphobic?
this day, years and
That's
years later,
shocking.
like I know, shocking. To this day, years and years later, like it's the same narratives as we know, right?
Yeah.
Like there are so many women I've dated that are like, are you just gay or like are you gonna cheat on me? There's so many men, gay men that I've dated that have wondered that. But anyway, because of that experience in college, I stopped trying to come out basically,
Uh-huh.
um, and
Mm.
for a lot of other reasons, I just decided to be straight
Uh-huh.
for most of my 20s.
Mm.
And then when I was 29, I fell in love with my best friend, who was a man, and
Mm.
he was a gay man, and we ended up falling in love, and we were in a 7-year relationship together before it ended. And that was when I had to come out
Uh-huh.
because it forced my hand in terms of believing that some part of me was wrong, or like some part of me was like the gay side of me was just because of something or
Yeah.
whatever, and that it was just sexual, and that that attraction meant nothing beyond physicality or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
that point, I was like, wait, I have now been in love with two women. By the time I was 29, I'd been in love with two women, and I was in love with this guy, and I was like, um, oh, and I'm still attracted to all these different kinds of people, and that's only expanded since. But when
Interesting.
I was 29, I came out to my family. I came out to a lot of my friends and sort of lived that way. And then after a
You
lot
came
of
out at the beginning of that relationship or
essentially,
towards
yeah,
the
towards
beginning?
the beginning of that
Yeah.
relationship,
Was
and
it surprising to you that because I identify with the like, oh, my attractions to men are more sexual and not as important, and I want to
Yeah,
do that, but it's not how I'm going to live my life. And then I started falling in love and having emotional connections
yeah.
and going, oh, I guess that's possible too. Was that surprising to you that that
It
happened?
was. I mean, I think the way that society grooms us is it's probably still true, but not even like believing that the side of me that people were saying is gay was wrong, but it's just that my entire experience of like the way that same-sex attraction works for, people who are male, like it feels like it's very sexualized and physical, and it doesn't like there's not a
Mm,
lot of focus on like the beauty and the more spiritual, the more emotional like side of that.
yeah,
And again, I was like, I'm happy to just be with a woman and just like know that this is a thing in the back of my mind, but just like live as a straight person.
yeah,
It's quite frankly easier, even though on the inside you're being crushed like in your
yeah,
soul,
yeah,
like it's hurting you and you're hurting yourself by not expressing who you are.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was having my hand forced by falling in love with a boy was meaningful, and I would say he's one of the few gay men I've ever met or been with that was totally fine with it. He is one of those gay
Good.
men that's totally grossed out by like women's like organs in general, to put it lightly, but just never questioned that I would cheat on him,
uh,
never wondered whether or not we were real, never, thought that I was gonna like just run away with a
good.
woman or whatever. Like that he was not efficient enough for me or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, yeah. We
So
love that self confidence and non biphobia from the
I
gay
know.
community.
Well,
As much as
yeah,
there's stuff to complain about, there's I think a growing portion of the gay community, probably the majority, that like is getting it
I
more.
would like I would I
I hope
I'm
so.
hoping so. Yes, I will be optimistic with you. Yeah.
Both
But he was
exist. Both
definitely one of
definitely
those people.
exist. At least,
Yeah,
at
both
least we can
definitely
say that.
exist. Yeah. No, for sure.
Interesting. Okay, so then you were saying you came out to your family around 29, 30, which is around how old I was.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
probably
I think generally speaking we maybe
I wasn't,
probably
it seems like I wasn't as aware of it as you were younger. That you didn't come out, you kind of made a decision, sort of,
yes. No, I mean
that there
that's
was some
exactly what happened.
awareness.
Yeah, I mean, I would say uh, you know, given the way we grew up in the society we grew up with that's still largely there, I think I actively made a decision to never talk about it
Uh-huh.
until I was in college, and then I had a
Yeah,
very tight group of friends in college that I tried to have that
yeah,
experience talking about it with, and again
it
then it
didn't
went
work.
badly, so I
Yeah,
was like, fine, it's fine, I'll just be straight, it's
yeah,
fine,
yeah,
like
yeah.
and then it
I
backfired
see.
when I fell in love. But
And where'd you grow up? And then where'd you move to in the beginning of the story?
Northeast. I grew up all over the place. I like to tell people I moved 8 times before I graduated high school.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow,
and
fun.
but we ended up for high school. We ended up in this town called Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which
Heard of it?
is where UNC Chapel Hill is, Tar Heels, Michael Jordan, etc.
Cool,
It's right by Duke
cool.
University.
Yeah,
Um, it's very affluent white. It's very segregated for the most part as a
uh-huh.
town. Like there's just definitely income driven
Yeah,
segregation.
interesting.
Yeah, a lot of
Mm.
rich kids.
And why are you wearing a Boston Red Sox hat?
Because I love Go Sox. I love
Why do you like Boston?
I love Boston.
Just for
Just
fun?
I've always loved Boston. Growing up outside, I wasn't a New Yorker in that
But you
sense.
were
Like
up
I wasn't
there.
a
Were you a
Yankees
New
fan.
Englander?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
We
okay,
grew up. I grew up Pennsylvania, New York. Yeah,
okay. Cool.
Virginia. Yeah,
All right, fair enough.
DC. Yeah.
Okay, so then you came out to your family, and
Yes.
then what?
Uh,
How did you this became a bigger part of your life at some
yes.
point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I came out to my family. That's a whole side story, but let's say that went about as well as it goes for any bi person with family members that just don't. I actually
Yeah.
have to say that
Oh,
my father surprisingly was very open about it. Like he wasn't I'm not saying he particularly understands from a knowledge perspective what that experience has been like for me, but sort of randomly one time at dinner, my ex and I were sitting together with him, and my mom went to the restroom, and he just like turned to me and he was like, I just want you to know that I don't care who you end up with as long as you're happy and you're in love with that person.
oh,
And I was like, that's like a really sincere way of my dad being like, I accept you,
yeah.
essentially. And he came
Very
from a
much.
very small, very like ultra toxic masculine town in upstate Pennsylvania, and
Yeah.
it was just not what you expect from my father.
Huh.
My mother to this day has been more complicated to deal with.
Yeah.
She's still living in, I don't know, like her liberal fantasy that she has like a gay son and wants me to be her BFF. I don't know. It's a very strange psychosis to say the least.
I don't
But
know if that sounds good or
yeah, I don't
bad.
know. It's I remember when I came out to her, we were in the car. This is such a visual memory. So I was it was the day after my 29th birthday, and we're in the car driving down the 101 South on our way to Disneyland. And I said, Mom, there's something I need to tell you.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I uh, am not just attracted to women. I'm attracted to, I have the potential to be attracted to everyone. And her first response was, I think that's going to be hard,
Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
which maybe was from a loving motherly place, but that's kind of what the
Yeah.
narrative has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's common.
Yeah.
I don't like, I would say I had a similar thing with my parents. Like my dad was pretty, you know, very understanding and accepting right away. And my mom was like supportive, but had questions.
Yeah.
And she didn't say that's going to be hard, but the questions that she had right away implied
Yeah.
that that's going to make things harder.
Yeah.
And that like, oh, now we have to figure other stuff out. Are you going
Hmm.
to still have a family? And what's that?
Right.
What does this mean for your life? And
Yeah.
people, I think that, yeah, that it's a common thing of like hearing that and thinking, hey, your life has been harder than I thought it was. And that brings up sadness for some
Oh,
people. And
that's,
also it will be harder too. I don't
yeah.
know what
She's still
you
struggling with
think.
that too, because she's one of those people that feels like it's a failure of her as a mother if my sister and I have had like a bad experience or whatever,
Uh-huh,
which I think is true for a lot of mothers. I think in her case, she is at a loss for the responsibility that is on her.
uh-huh,
But I also think circumstantially, very soon after that, I got into a 7-year relationship with my ex. And I think that for her in her mind was like, oh, he's just gay, but he's unwilling to say it.
uh-huh.
To which
Mm.
I say, in what universe is it easier to be bi than it is to be a gay man?
Mhm,
I
mhm.
don't know. I
Yeah.
don't understand that whole narrative, but somebody made that shit up.
It's a very common assumption that I think people who listen to this podcast probably will understand
Yeah,
the
it is.
reality
Yeah.
of like how complicated and it is to be bi and how biphobia may be more invisible, but it is as pervasive, if not more so,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's a little more insidious in a way, in that
Oh,
it's
yeah.
sometimes not as direct, but it
Correct.
comes in ways you can't always see, and that can be insidious because
Yes.
you feel it without knowing what that
No,
is.
and we have to talk about the social insidious nature of biphobia and bi-erasure. But just to
Social
finish personal,
nature of
yes.
biphobia. Okay.
I yeah. So sorry. So anyway,
Yes, keep going.
uh, about I don't know. Timelines wise doesn't really matter, but several years ago, I finally found the right kind of therapy slash help, etc. And so I was able to heal from a lot of different kinds of trauma and strengthen my resolve in myself and all of those
Yeah.
wonderful things that happen when you really like lock in and you work on yourself.
Yeah.
So I did that really hardcore for a couple years. And by the way, a lot of that trauma is not even related to being bi, but of course, it's always informed. And coming out of that, I felt strongly, this is where my advocacy journey started, that as somebody who had healed and felt stronger as a person, that I needed to stand up for people that were experiencing the same things that I was,
Yeah.
or any version of,
Yeah.
the bi stuff.
And so then you started to become an advocate. Yeah. So
Correct.
when did that journey start, and what does that entail? And then we'll
Um,
lead into the new stuff.
it essentially started as a Facebook post. To be honest, I had like a life coach at the time that was sort of pushing me to do more leadership stuff because he saw how much I cared about
Uh-huh.
other people, how empathetic I was, and how much I had done work to strengthen my ability to like stand up
Yeah.
for myself and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I ended up posting on Facebook at the time. Um, no, I
That
posted on
one's still
Facebook
Facebook's
about,
still there.
yeah, exactly.
It's
No, I
the
posted to Facebook, which you have to understand is just a like mass conglomeration for me of like random people I went to high school and colleges with, and like people I've worked with in the industry with, from so many different projects and from all over the United States. Just a crazy smattering of people. Some family members. Anyway,
Mhm.
and I wrote a long post about the fact I just started it like I am bi, and then I wrote very briefly in like 2 sentences what that experience was like and how proud I was of myself now. And that was kind of like my, as we always talk about as bi people, like you come out so many different times. For me, that was me coming out as a stand for other people.
Uh-huh.
And during the pandemic, which was not that long ago, even though it feels like ages, I chose to do a similar thing on IG.
Uh-huh.
And so
So the
I think at
Facebook
that
one was
point,
pre-pandemic,
no, I think it was
or
kind of right before the pandemic started, or
right,
it might have been
2020, right
right
around
when,
then.
yeah, social lockdown happened and
Uh-huh.
everything.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of a good thing because then you get a lot of eyes on it.
Yeah.
It
So
might
you
have
were
been right
out
before.
among friends or family before that, but
Yeah,
that was when it became sort of like public.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we didn't meet until after that. I feel like
No,
we
we
met
didn't.
post-pandemic,
Well, yeah, I think that's
right?
true. I think we met it.
We
Yeah,
must have,
we
because I
must
didn't
have.
do much Ambi before. Maybe I went to one or two things before
No,
the
I didn't
pandemic.
either.
Yeah.
I think I went to like one. I
So
was like,
you've done quite a lot in a few years in this space
oh,
in terms of the
okay.
activism then, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty active in Ambi,
yes.
organizing, and then now the task force, and
Yeah,
now this.
yeah. And I haven't not been an advocate for other things in my life. I grew up volunteering for Habitat for Humanity and at soup kitchens. I um, did a lot of survivor stuff with battered women's shelter
Oh,
and
I was
sexual
thinking,
abuse survivors
okay,
in my late 20s and 30s. So I was kind of already dipping a toe in it,
cool,
but
cool.
I just actually finally had the emotional skill set to do more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Such a mensch. Yeah.
Ah, oh,
So much good
feels so
work.
good coming from a lovely
So much
Jewish
good
person
work.
like yourself.
When you said survivor, this is the weird thing, but like I used to work at Law and Order SVU, and we would
Of
use the
course,
term
yeah.
survivor a lot, and we try not to use the term victim because it can feel blaming, and survivor is empowering, and that always that word was about that. And now I don't work there anymore, and over the past year or two, I've been getting really into the TV show Survivor, and so I
Oh,
now that's what Survivor is to me. And I
okay.
thought that you were talking about the game show Survivor.
And side note,
Uh,
Survivor is a strangely like queer leaning audience kind of a show. I'm not sure why, but like I used to go to this gay board gamers
uh-huh,
club
uh-huh.
and they were obsessed with Survivor.
Oh
And
my God. Are you not obsessed with
I'm
Survivor?
not.
Can you
I'm
please get
sorry.
obsessed with it and we
I
can
mean,
watch it
I'll
together?
try
Because
it
I am
again. We
obsessed
can
with it.
watch, I will watch anything with you
Okay.
because we're friends and I think it'd be fun.
Okay,
But
but also on this season
Survivor
of
obsessed.
Survivor is amazing. And there used to be people used to hide their queerness on Survivor
Oh,
because
yeah.
they might have thought that would hurt them in the
Right.
game.
But
Now it's almost the opposite. You need
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
be authentically yourself right away.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people will find out later and know that you lied. And so, like, coming out or not on Survivor is a big like game decision now, and it's
Oh,
really
okay.
interesting. And
That is interesting. Well, didn't the first, isn't the famously the first season of Survivor, didn't, wasn't it won by a gay man?
yeah, he's
Yeah,
gay. Yeah, and
yeah.
he came out quickly on his season, which I'm
Oh,
watching right now,
interesting.
because it was too soon to realize that, what that would mean.
Right.
But actually, it worked out for him in that case. But then it happened where like queer people were kind of ganged up on sometimes, and if you were out, you were an outcast. And now it's swung back the other way.
Okay.
There is a guy
Mm.
currently on who came out as bi in the first episode and seemed like a terrible, terrible player. His name was Andy. He kind of like broke down crying, thinking that nobody liked him. And then everyone saw him as not a threat. And now he's survived multiple
Oh, of
votes
course.
and he's
Yeah.
doing well and he's playing better. And like, I'm kind of like,
Such an interesting social construct of the game.
yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, we could do a whole hour on Survivor, but we can't. Anyway, we'll see how Andy does. We might have the first pie winner ever, or
Maybe.
maybe there has been. I don't know.